everyone, I'm Meghan Sullivan, and welcome to this History and Games episode on Immortals Fenyx Rising, developed and published by Ubisoft. Today, we're going to talk about one of the game's main characters. No, not Phoenix, although they're pretty cool too. I'm talking about the Titan Prometheus, one of the game's two narrators and Phoenix's biggest advocate. We'll talk about who and what he is in the game, as well as his importance to the ancient Greeks in real life. And don't worry, there are no major spoilers for Immortals Fenyx Rising in this episode. So in the game, Prometheus is the player's guide to the world of immortals. He tells the story of the mortal hero Phoenix to his cousin Zeus in an attempt to convince the father of the gods that the only way to defeat the newly escaped Titan Typhon is to trust in mankind. It's Prometheus's hope that by helping Zeus, Zeus will free him from his captivity on a mountaintop, a punishment for stealing fire for mortals. Now, Zeus isn't convinced puny mortals can help in the fight against the Titans, but he agrees to listen to Prometheus's story while occasionally chiming in with some witty or goofy remark. And I have to say, Zeus and Prometheus's banter is the highlight of the game for me. It actually reminds me of the old WWF commentary team of Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, where Gorilla was the straight commentator and Bobby's job was to make snarky comments the whole time. What, nobody remembers that? Anyway, it's a great dynamic and a fun way to introduce the troubled relationship between the Olympians and the Titans. But what's the real story behind the dynamic? Let's find out by taking a closer look at the legend of Prometheus. The story is told or alluded to by several authors in antiquity, including ones like Pausanias and Apollonius of Rhodes. But there are three main sources where we get our information from: Hesiod, a farmer and poet from the 8th century BCE, Aeschylus, the author of the 5th century tragedy Prometheus Bound, and Plato, who of course is famous for recording the Socratic dialogues a century later. Now there's also iconographic evidence, art, of Prometheus's tale, and there's the possible pre-Greek origins of Prometheus, which are either Caucasian, as in literally from the Caucasus, or from the Middle East, in the form of an ancient Sumerian belief. But today we're just going to focus on the legend itself, so we have a better understanding of the actual history moving forward. The tale of Prometheus, or Prometheus, goes something like this. Prometheus, which means forethought, is the son of the Titan Iapetus, which means piercing, and either the goddess Themis, the personification of divine order, Clymene, the goddess of fame and renown, or the goddess Asia. It's a little confused. The literary sources do agree that Prometheus was brilliant and cunning, and had the ability of foresight, which allowed him to see the future. It was this foresight that allowed him to glimpse the outcome of an upcoming war between the old gods of Greece, the Titans, and the new gods of Greece, the Olympians. Prometheus saw that Team Olympus was going to win, which is why he wisely got on the winning team and assisted Zeus and the Olympians in their efforts to overthrow the Titans. Because of this, Prometheus was in good standing with the new Olympic pantheon, until mankind appeared on the scene. Prometheus really liked mortals and was a steadfast ally right from the beginning. He gave them wisdom and showed them how to use fire, but the details of how he went about doing these things vary. One of the most widely accepted stories throughout antiquity was that Prometheus made man out of clay and water, specifically clay and water from, quote, Panopios in Phokis, after which Athena breathed life into this new creation. In Aeschylus' play Prometheus Bound, the Titan then takes credit for teaching mankind every sort of skill associated with intelligence and civilization, including mathematics, astronomy, sailing, medicine, the yoking and bridling of animals, and divination. He even took away their ability to foresee their own deaths by placing, quote, blind hope in their hearts. However, in Plato's version of the story, found in the Protagoras dialogue, the gods made man out of earth, fire, and other elements, and charged Prometheus and his brother Epimetheus, or Epimetheus, which means afterthought, to equip both animals and man with features that would allow them to survive. Unfortunately, Epimetheus was in charge of distribution and was so enthusiastic in dealing out cool things like claws and feathers to other animals, he forgot to leave anything of value for man. When Prometheus saw his brother's mistake, he realized he had to fix it ASAP, and decided the best way to give mankind a fighting chance was to give them fire and knowledge, both essential for survival. Thus he stole these things from the gods Hephaestus and Athena respectively, and gave them to mankind. The poet Hesiod claims the fire was smuggled out of Olympus in a fennel stalk, although potentially for a different reason. You see, the ancient Greeks credited Prometheus for teaching them how to make sacrifices to the Olympian gods, which apparently involved a bit of trickery. Instead of giving the gods the tasty flesh and innards of a sacrificial animal, humans offered up the inedible bones, which were wrapped in glistening, delicious-smelling rolls of fat. Hesiod claims the idea came from Prometheus, who wanted to see if he could trick Zeus into taking the worst part of a sacrifice instead of the best. Now, apparently Zeus wasn't actually deceived, but went along with a ploy so he had an excuse to punish humans for their impudence. He did so by taking fire away from mankind, which was needed to cook the sacrificial meat. Perhaps feeling guilty for his part in the trickery, Prometheus then stole back fire and returned it to the humans. But whether he stole it or just stole it back, Zeus was furious by the brazen theft and decided to punish both Prometheus and mankind for this transgression. In Hesiod's cynical and quite frankly misogynistic take on the story, Zeus decided to punish man by creating a terrible new evil that would plague him forever. Woman, specifically a woman named Pandora. Now, since most of you already know the story of Pandora and her infamous box, although it was actually a jar, not a box, but never mind, I'm not going to go over it here since unfortunately we don't have time to cover it in depth. But let me know if